Hey guys, it's Coach Nick here with the 10-0 Mindset. I'm here with a question that I get quite a bit from parents, friends, and other people that watch or enjoy gymnastics. What separates the good gymnasts from the great gymnasts? It's a question that I think all gymnasts and gymnastics coaches have put quite a bit of thought into, because most gymnasts that I know want to be great, and most coaches that I know want to create great gymnasts. So how do we do it? No, seriously, take a moment to think to yourself about what separates talented gymnasts from exceptional gymnasts. I believe that the answer is consistency, being able to show up and execute your skills time and time again. The truth is, a good gymnast and a great gymnast might even both be able to do a back layout with a full twist. However, what makes the difference is that the great gymnast is able to perform it well 90% of the time, whereas the good gymnast may only complete the skill about half the time. This brings up a critical point that we could all stand to hear repeated. Gymnastics is about more than just raw technical skills. So how do we get more consistent in our gymnastics? The obvious answer is that we practice more. The more repetitions we complete, the more prepared we feel, the more confident we act, and the more consistent we become. And getting a ton of reps done in the gym is great, but it comes with its challenges. There are a few reasons that we're not able to get to the number of repetitions that we'd like. The first one is pretty simple. Time. There's just never enough of it. Even if you're a super high-level optional gymnast, we'll say level 9 or 10, and you're practicing in the gym for 20 hours each week, it just never seems like there's enough time. There are so many things chipping away at the time we have in the gym. The warm-up, 4 competitive events, flexibility, conditioning, time spent talking with coaches, water and bathroom breaks, time spent putting on grips, taking off grips, moving equipment, moving mats. The list goes on endlessly. And here's the problem. You need all of those other things too. You need to be flexible, and to be strong, and to warm up properly. Another reason that we don't get a huge number of repetitions in the gym is because maybe it's not always the best for us. When you're young, your body's still growing, changing, and adapting. We don't want to repeatedly put too much stress on those growing bones, muscles, ligaments, and tendons. Research has shown that when your body lands a tumbling pass, it hits the floor with around 15 to 18 times the weight of your body in force. So imagine a young, we'll say 70-pound gymnast doing a round-off back handspring back tuck. From the outside, the gymnast makes it look effortless. But if we do some quick math, 70 pounds times 15 or 17 equals about 1,050 pounds. So that 70-pound gymnast contacts the floor with around 1,000 pounds of force directly into her ankles, knees, hips, and spine. You can see now why it might make sense to limit the number of repetitions we actually do in order to protect our joints and to make sure that we stay healthy and injury-free. The final reason that we might want to limit repetitions in the gym is when the quality of our repetitions are low. For a long time, the gymnastics community has known about this whole muscle memory phenomenon that goes out with gymnastics. If you do something enough, your body remembers how to do it, much like riding a bicycle. It's the same reason that 80-year-old coaches can jump up on the uneven bars and pull off glide kips. Their bodies remember the positions and actions required to perform the glide kip from all of the repetitions they've completed over the years. However, if you're having a really tough day at practice and your repetitions aren't looking great, sometimes it's a good idea to stop trying that specific skill and either move on to a different skill or to a different event entirely. And that's because, just like our body will remember how to do skills properly, it will also remember how to do skills poorly if we do it enough times. So we know that confidence and consistency comes from getting in more repetitions. However, it's not always possible, or even a good idea, to get that many repetitions in each practice. So what do we do now? What can we do to bridge the gap? The solution to our problems is visualization. The word visualization means the act of creating a mental image of something. When we apply that definition to gymnastics, visualization is when we create a mental image of a specific skill or routine with the end goal of improving its execution and consistency. Visualization in gymnastics has been around for a while, and many coaches make visualization at least a minor component of their training program. The problem is, though, that most gymnasts don't understand why visualization is so important, or don't know how to visualize properly, or feel awkward doing visual exercises in the gym. Over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about the fundamentals of visualization for our gymnastics. We'll cover why visualization and the science that backs it up is so important. We'll also talk about how to visualize, and I'll give you some pro tips for making visualization an easy and rewarding part of your own personal routine. So why do we visualize? The answer, like we just figured out, is to increase the number of repetitions of skills or routines that we can complete. Now I know what you're thinking, but Coach Nick, visualizing a skill isn't the same as actually doing it. Well, it's not as far off as you'd think. Studies have shown time and time again that our brain isn't as great at determining what's real and what's not as we'd like to think it is. Our brain will accept a mental image of a skill as reality just as quickly as it'll accept an actual performance of the skill. Our brain doesn't really know the difference, and that's great for us, because that means that by using visualization, we can get extra repetitions in that are time effective, easy on our joints, and that we can do with great technique every single time. Now that we can see why it's important for us to visualize, a part that most gymnasts struggle with, especially when you're first starting to visualize, is how to visualize. There are multiple different visualization methods that you can use and experiment with to find what works best for you. I'm going to give you a simple method that you can use every single time for your visualizations. If you find another method that works better for you than mine, please, by all means, do what works best for you. In our visualization exercise, we're going to perform each skill or routine 4 separate times. But first, it's important to know about the different types of visualizations that we're going to use. First, when we think about visualization, a visualization can be either external or internal. An external visualization is when we see a mental image of ourselves as if we were a spectator, looking at ourselves from the outside. On the other hand, an internal visualization is when we see our gymnastics as if we were doing it firsthand, looking out through our own eyes. Next, when we think about visualization, it doesn't always have to focus solely on what we can see. When we focus on what we see, we could call it a visual visualization, and I know that sounds a little crazy. In other visualization exercises, we'll focus on what we hear and think, or what we feel in our bodies, and we'll call those auditory or kinesthetic visualizations. Now, when we're actually getting ready to visualize, you can use this simple method to calm down your brain and prepare for those extra reps. Lie down in a comfortable place and position, either on your back or stomach. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, feeling your lungs fill with air. At the top of your breath, hold it for a couple seconds, and slowly release the air from your lungs, feeling your body flatten out again. Take several more slow, deep breaths in and out, focusing just on your breath. Allow thoughts about your day, any stressful or frustrating events, and any worries you might have to come into your mind, and you can acknowledge them, but let them slip out of your mind, returning your focus to your breath. Once you're feeling nice and calm, you can begin the visualization routine. So what exactly is our visualization routine going to be? The formula that I usually recommend for visualization exercises ensures that we get to experience our skills and routines from as many different perspectives as we can. First, we want to do our external visual visualization. We visualize our routine or skill from the outside looking in. In this visualization, we want to focus on what our ideal gymnastics should look like. What does our best technique look like? Visualize your gymnastics with straight legs, pointed toes, big amplitude, and graceful artistry. Once you're done this, we can move on to a series of internal visualizations. Our first internal visualization puts us right there in the moment, seeing, hearing, and feeling our gymnastics as if we were looking out through our own eyes. This visualization gives you a complete first-hand perspective on your best, ideal gymnastics. Again, make sure you're visualizing your gymnastics the way that you'd like to perform it at a real-life practice or competition. Our third visualization, we remove the visual component, and we focus specifically on what we hear, think, and feel while we're doing gymnastics. For this visualization, hear yourself taking breaths at strategic moments during your routine. Hear your hands hit the beam or your feet hit the landing mat. saying helpful cue words to yourself while you're visualizing. At first, it can be challenging to not also see yourself in the visualization, but a little bit of practice will allow you to focus on the auditory and kinesthetic components of this visualization. The final visualization in our routine focuses specifically on what we can feel in our body. We don't see or hear anything. Doing this visualization, we should feel our muscles contract and our joints open and close as we go through our trouble skills or our routines. Again, practice tuning out the sights or sounds of your gymnastics and instead focus on movement and the body actions of your gymnastics. While you're doing your visualization routine, be sure to keep yourself free from distractions and interruptions. You may find that you prefer to visualize in the dark or with some soft, soothing music on, and that's perfectly fine. At this point, you're a visualization pro and ready to start moving toward more calm and consistent gymnastics. I'll just leave you with some pro tips before I go. Number 1, start off visualizing only a single skill or part of your routine using the visualization routine that we just went over. As you get more comfortable hearing, seeing, and feeling your gymnastics in your mind, you can expand to full routines. Number 2, start off by visualizing for just 5 minutes a day. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to jump right into 30 minutes of visualization. You can visualize first thing in the morning, right before you go to sleep, or when you're done your practice. Number 3, picture success. Sometimes you'll slip up and start picturing yourself doing the skill with some errors. That little bit of self-doubt slipping into your visualization can be a little disheartening. Take a few deep breaths and start from the beginning, reminding yourself that in your mind, you can do everything perfectly. I know that this has been a lot of information, but I truly believe that it's going to give you more confidence and consistency and take away some of the doubt and fear from your gymnastics. Last thing before I go, I just want to let you know that I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for showing up at each practice and doing your best with the resources that you have at your disposal. You're going to have good practices and bad ones, victories and defeats, laughs and tears, but what's most important is that you keep showing up. I couldn't be more proud of you.